So the ELC Even 90, this is a new Tier 8 French premium light tank arriving in store very soon, and it is really going to be competing against that T92 American light tank. And for all you light tank fans out there, especially you French light tank fans, you're all going to be pretty excited about this tank because it's fast, it has great maneuverability and a pretty tiny profile as well. I mean, this thing is pretty much a bug on wheels. Now, if you've had a look at its stats, you're probably on the mindset that this tank is bad. I mean, it's no defender, and let's get that straight from the get-go. It is no defender, it is no patriot. This tank is not overpowered, but it is far from bad. I think just more so misunderstood. The gun on this tank is mediocre at best. Looking at its base stats, it has an insanely bad DPM of 1152.15, giving it one of the worst DPMs in World of Tanks right now. Like, it is that bad. There are only pretty much tier 2s and tier 1s that have worse DPM than this tank. Its accuracy of 0.36 isn't that bad on paper, but its hidden gun handling stats make trying to hit shots on the move pretty much impossible. It is really that bad. Oh, and it only has 175 millimeters of penetration, and it makes you feel like you just can't penetrate anything. It's also got the worst amount of hit points at tier 8 at 900, so it can't sustain being hit by anything it comes across, including tier 6 tanks. So it's got a bad gun, and I think we can all objectively agree that it's got a bad gun. And sure, it's an autoloader with 3 shells, and each shell does 220 damage, which is actually pretty good, but its damage output at 660 potential damage is pretty shocking, and it's definitely shocking at tier 8. But it does have a few good things on its side. Foremost is the amazing camouflage value of this tank. With my crew setup and equipment, I'm getting a pretty insane 42.86%, and if you were to add camo net as equipment to this tank, you could have some mental camo values and pretty much not be spotted until a tank is within that 50-meter spotting proximity, or whatever it's called. Also, the size of this tank means at longer ranges your enemies are not going to be able to hit you, especially if you're on the move, because this tank is so small. Something to consider as well is this tank gets 9 degrees of gun depression, so you barely need to expose any of your tank at all when getting shots off at the enemy. Also really good is the mobility of this tank. It has a 23.88 power to weight ratio with good terrain resistances as well, meaning that this tank will pretty much always reach its top speed of 70 kilometers per hour. Armor wise, it has none. It's got 15 millimeters on the front of the tank and 10 on the sides and 10 at the rear. I mean, there really isn't much I can talk about. It also has a pretty healthy view range of 380 meters, and that's kind of cool. A bit on the low side, but equipment can really fix that. Speaking of, I recommend using vents to get better tank performance all around, coated optics to get that view range up to 420 meters, and I swear if you do not use vertical stabilizers, then you do not know how to play World of Tanks, because this tank is horrendous. It is absolutely horrendous at hitting shots on the move. It is definitely a requirement to put that vertical stabilizer on your tank, boy. So to play this tank, I recommend just sitting in a bush at the beginning of a match, lighting up enemy tanks. I know that is controversial, but if you go forward, if you go and try and destroy the enemy team at the beginning of a game, I can almost guarantee that the tank will be absolutely destroyed. It's got no hit points, no armor, it can't take a hit. As soon as you run out of shells, you are useless. So at the beginning of the game, sit in a bush, light up the enemy team, get some of that spotting damage. Then as the game progresses, go ahead and pick off the enemy team in close quarters combat. So is it any better than the T92? No, but it's not worse. It's just so different. It has a high skill cap, so if you're not the best player, such as myself, then maybe think of alternative tanks, because otherwise you'll regret the purchase. It has a very steep learning curve, and if you don't really know how to utilize autoloaders, then there really isn't much of a point playing the tank, because it really is quite hard. But personally, I'll definitely be keeping this one in my garage. Now, if you guys are long-time viewers, you will know that this video, this review, is very different to how I've done reviews in the past. So I'm going to leave a poll up there somewhere now. I would really love to know if you guys like this new format of video. I think it's a bit more concise, and I think you guys will just enjoy it a lot more than my longer, more kind of dribble videos that I've made in the past. But maybe not. Let me know. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, I would really love a thumbs up. Share this video with your mates. Let the world know that I exist. Bye.